Hello friends, welcome to Dr. Ossai Physiology Academy, DOPA for short. This is the place where we make the learning of physiology easy, exciting, and effective. Thank you for joining me. And if you're new to this channel, you're especially welcome. And if you love the content that we share, kindly click the like button and also the subscribe button. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't get to miss any new content that we drop. Now let's get started. So now we're going to be dealing with the introduction to excitable tissues. Somehow, excitable tissues is one aspect of physiology that usually gives students some challenge, some problem. But there's nothing that is difficult once you understand it, especially going from foundational principles. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be asking ourselves, tissues, excitable tissues. So going from basic foundational knowledge, we have 4 basic types of tissue. Let's write them down. All right, so now muscle tissue, nervous tissue, connective tissue, and epithelial tissue. Okay, so the ones that are excitable are number 1 and number 2. These are the ones referred to as excitable tissues. Then the next question you now ask yourself, why are they excitable tissues? Why not these two? Why are these two not excitable? So let's go to foundational principles, fundamentals. Everything the body is trying to do is about maintaining health for your survival. And in physiology, the word used to refer to that maintenance of health is homeostasis. So understand physiology from that point of homeostasis. Everything you are learning in physiology is about mainly homeostasis, maintenance of stability in order to make you healthy, to keep you healthy and alive, so that you can ultimately reproduce. Continuity. Okay, so homeostasis, and you know what? Homeostasis, like we have already known, general physiology, the lectures are there. Okay, homeostasis is brought about by control systems, and control systems have 5 basic components. Let's just remind ourselves, because it will help us really understand what we are talking about here. Foundation, they are all linked together. All right, so now you have 1, you have the receptor, also known as the sensor. Okay, here you have the control center, also known as the integrating center, and here you have the effector. Okay, yeah, 3 main points. Whenever there's a change, something has changed in the internal environment, the sensor or the receptor detects it. That's why it's here. Then it sends that message, communication, to the control center, usually the brain and so on, and then interprets it and then maps out a line of action in order to correct that change that has happened. So it sends the message of correction to the effector. The job of the effector is to implement the correction so that there can be a return to original state. Okay, to now maintain balance. So these 3 points, and they are connected by these 2 things known as the afferent. You know that efferent. Okay, so basically there must be communication between these 3 points. Communication. And there are 2 ways in which the body communicates: chemical means and electrical means. So this can be electrical, this part can be electrical and here chemical, and vice versa, or it can both be electrical or both chemical means of communication. Okay, so but very importantly, electrical means of communication is done by through nerves. Do you understand that now? This is where nerves is coming to play now. Everything, homeostasis, through mainly nerves, the electrical means. Then now you have the effector. What are effectors? They're like implementers. They carry out instructions to bring about. And there are two major types of effectors. Okay, you have, they're either glands or muscles. You see where muscle now is coming into play. They are either glands or muscles. But the fact is that muscles they're on a special class of their own. We do not usually refer to glands as excitable tissues. Okay, but it's neither here nor there. But mainly we are talking about excitable tissues. We are talking about muscles and nerves. You see where they are connected. Nerves here, muscles also. Everything is about homeostasis. Muscles, you have different types. Skeletal, the one that we all know, see. Okay? When there's danger, you need to run. Your muscles are doing all that. All your functions outwardly are carried out by skeletal muscles. Then inside, you also have smooth muscles. Your digestion, your intestine, they have smooth muscles. So muscles, everything, they're very important in bodily functions. You see that? So nerves and muscles. So this excitable tissue we're actually dealing with. We're dealing with the physiology of nerves and muscles. How they are able, in order to carry out this function of communication and effecting the change, which in the case of muscle is contraction. They need to be able to do what? Two things: to generate and to propagate or transmit electrical signals. So excitable tissues, which muscle and nerves, they are tissues that are capable of generating and propagating electrical signals. All right, very important for you to know. So now we have established that electrical signals. So now we are going to start first and foremost with the nerves. This is about nerves and muscles. Okay, so we are going to start first with the structure and then the function of nerves, because everything about physiology has to do with function, and structure determines function. So the basis first of what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at the parts of this. This is a nerve cell. Okay, this is a nerve cell. A nerve cell is also referred to as a neuron. A neuron. Okay, that is what is this. So we're going to be a neuron. All right, so we're going to be studying the parts and see the roles they play, do these different structures of this neuron, and then the function. We're going to be looking at that after this break. All right, you're welcome back. So quickly, we're going to be talking about the structure and function, the different parts. Now, this part, you see it here, this beginning part of the nerve cell. This whole thing you're seeing is a cell, but it has been modified in order to suit its function. So nerves, you know, they're like wires, biological wires, transmit electricity. So this part here, this part you are seeing, is known as dendrite. Dendrite. Let's write it. Number one, dendrite. Okay, then number two, this is now the cell body. Number two, cell body. here that has the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Okay, this is the cell body. Then you have another part here. It's called the initial segment. This part, the initial segment. Let's write it here. Initial. Okay, then the next part, this main long fiber that moves like this, is now known as the axon. Okay, going like this. You have number 4, the axon. And then you now have this part that ends everything. It's now known as the axon terminal. Okay, number 5, axon terminal. Okay, then lastly, you now have these things, funny things here. Okay, these are actually cells. They are known as squam cells. Squam cells. They form a sheet known as myelin sheet. Okay, they are present in a lot of nerves, okay, but not all. So it's not a typical general part because some nerves don't have it, but nerves that have it is known as myelin sheet. They have their very important functions. It helps in the speed, okay, of conduction of electrical signals. That's that. So now let's talk about the function. So the dendrite, quickly, they are the part that receive incoming electrical signals from other nerve cells, other neurons. Do you understand it now? So neurons, they are connected to each other. This one is connected like this, another is attached to this one, connected, attached like that. So they are just wires that are joined to themselves so that they can be transfer of electrical current or electrical signal, also known as electrical impulses. So these ones, they receive. Okay, so therefore reception. Then this initial segment, it has another name. That's very important for you to know that. It's called the axon hillock. Initial segment, also known as axon hillock. Axon hillock. Okay, most nerves, it is in this axon hillock or initial segment that you have the generation, okay, of electrical signals. That's where the generation takes place. It generates it and propagates. Remember what I said, generating and propagating. So most of electrical signals, when a nerve wants to generate it, it's from this axon hillock, also known as initial segment. Okay, then the cell body, of course, we've talked about that. That's the body that has all the resources: cytoplasm, normal cell organelles, mitochondria. This is this normal cell body. Okay, then the axon is now like the main wire. It's for transmission and connection, to lengthen, to increase, to give out, okay, the signals. Is the means of which these signals really are transmitted, right? The axon. Then this place is now the end. It has reached this end. It's known as the axon terminal. So what the axon terminal does is that it now gives out signal to the next receiving cell, which will receive it typically through its own dendrite. So another cell like this is connected like this with the dendrite connected to the axon terminal of the giving neuron. Do you understand it? So they are all connected. All right, so something very important that you need to know: dendrites and axons are together known as nerve fibers. So when you do an anatomy dissection, you see a nerve, it's usually an axon or a dendrite, the very prominent part of nerves. They are the nerve fiber that you see because they are very prominent, they are long, elongated, okay? But the axon is usually longer, but together they are known as nerve fibers. Okay, so this is basically what you need to know. Then these Schwann cells, they act as insulators and they help to make conduction of electricity in the cells that they are present faster. Myelin sheath. Do you understand that now? So basically this is as a way of introduction. Excitable tissues, starting with the nerve. So in the part 2, we are going to be classifying nerves, nerve fibers. There are different ways, in about 5 or 6 different ways in which nerves can be classified. You need to know about that, so that when you are mentioning them, you'll not be confused. Talk about afferent, efferent. Okay, you have afferent, efferent nerves. You have sensory, motor. You have so many myelinated, non-myelinated, and so on and so forth. So there are several ways in which we are going to be dealing with that in the next lecture, classification, and also some other things, axonal transport. Very interesting subject. So you need to pay attention. Follow this lecture very well. All right, so I'm going to see you in the next video.